Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those that have not met me before, hi, I'm Meffan. I am a YouTuber, blogger and yoga teacher. For those of you that watch all of my videos, welcome back. I am very happy to see you. So I've got another chatty video for you. This is something I get asked a lot, and when I put out a Q&A on Instagram a while back, this was one of the things that people really wanted to know about, all around like motivation for working out and also what my routine is. So obviously a lot of you probably follow me on Instagram. If you don't, the handle is here. And my page is obviously really focused around yoga, but then those of you that watch my Instagram stories will see how much time I spend doing other things like lifting weights, doing circuit training, going bouldering, recently took up surfing and all things like that. So I guess I wanted to chat through why I do multiple different activities and how that benefits me and my body, and then also around motivation and little things that you can do in order to kind of, I guess, like find your own motivation. So I'm gonna start by talking about my own routine. I've never really struggled with motivation because I've always loved moving so much. My passion for movement started when I was young. I did gymnastics, I did dancing, and I absolutely loved it and really was just always amazed at how we could move our body, how we could challenge our body. And I always just really thrived off that feeling after a gym session or after a dance class, or as I got older after like a gym session. And in more recent years, now that my training is no longer about kind of punishing myself, because as some of you will know, if you've watched my previous videos, I struggled with eating disorders for a long time. And so my training, even though I loved it, it had a different motivation and it was almost like a punishment. Whereas now it's very much about what can my body do? Like, what's the most I can get out of it? How can I teach myself to be even more functional? How can I be stronger? How can I be more mobile going into kind of, later years as I get old? I've got enough grey hairs, so I might as well, talk about getting old as well. So I guess for me, it's all about having a multiple kind of like varied, doesn't make sense, does it? But you know what I mean, a varied workout routine. I don't have like a 9-to-5 job. As you guys know, I travel a lot. So routine is really, really hard for me. It's the thing that I struggle with the most. So for example, this week, I have trained pretty much every single day. But 2 weeks prior to that, I was traveling for 2 weeks. And I got on my mat quite a lot because I always have my yoga mat with me, but I didn't get to a gym and I didn't get to a climbing wall. So my consistency is always like a bit of a roller coaster, up and down, and that's okay. I would love to have a little bit more routine, and next year my plan is to have a bit more of a base and to get that routine. But for now, I kind of just fit it in where I can. I'm not about going to the gym for sort of like an hour and a half. That's not my vibe. I'm very much, I go in, I'll train for 45 minutes. I'll do a kind of warm up and a cool down, obviously throw in a few handstands. That's kind of my kind of scenario and like sort of perfect scenario of training. The type of workouts I do, if you haven't been, I recommend trying to get yourself to an F45 class. I really love those classes. Don't go if you are a super beginner and you've never lifted weights before. You need to have a basic knowledge of your technique and alignment, personally, I would say, because otherwise you will struggle with form and you may end up getting kind of a little bit injured. You need to have that base knowledge, but they're such high energy, kind of like good community classes, and they really, really get you working, and they have a different style of class every day. So you'll be working like strength one day, then cardio, and it will be like maybe you're working heavy resistance and then like body weight one day. And I just really, really like the layout. It's circuit training, it keeps it fun. So that's the kind of training that I do in the gym, and I always have. Before I even knew of F45, I was always kind of doing circuit training, that sort of thing. And then sometimes when I'm not in the mood to kind of get really sweaty, I'll lift a bit heavier. So I'll do compound moves like squats, deadlifts, like bench press, that kind of stuff, just to kind of work a little bit heavier. And then, like I said, I'll always throw in some handstands at the end as well. So that's kind of really what I do mostly in the gym. My yoga mat, like I say, is always by my side, but I don't want you guys thinking that I practice for like 90 minutes a day on my yoga mat, because that is not the case. For me, some days yoga is literally just my meditation. Or maybe it's my meditation plus me kind of like doing some free dancing around the kitchen. And I class that as my yoga, because yoga is for me now all about tuning in to how I feel, feeling alive, and just doing what feels good for my body. So that might not look like a traditional yoga practice. It might, like I say, be putting on some music and just moving around the room in any which way I know how. And then maybe it's pranayama, so breathing techniques. So it could vary from anything from 10 minutes up to 90 minutes. If you're wondering why a mug just arrived in my hand, it's because I was bought coffee whilst filming. This is like the dream scenario. So bear with me. Oh, so good. Okay, back to it. So that's kind of like my way of doing my yoga, fitting in my gym workouts. And like I say, I don't do both of them every single day because I'm back in the UK at the moment. For me, it's been kind of more about going to the gym and getting that side of my training like locked in, because I know I can do my yoga anywhere. And I know my yoga comes in many different forms. And then there's things like bouldering. So there's like the kind of activities that I love to do that just feel fun. They're less about, working out, pumping muscles, things like that. They're much more about, enjoyment, using your mind as much as your body. So bouldering I absolutely love, and there's so many places in London and up and down the UK that you can go to. I hugely recommend it. And then surfing I recently got into. Obviously that's going to be one that's more for when you are away, but so good for your body and so good for your mind. Honestly, you get hooked really, really quickly. So yeah, they are kind of like my go-to. And like I say, I don't have a routine, but what I do have is I know my body and I know myself. So this is where we're going to move into the tips. So I know that for me, I train before I eat in the morning, and I'm not saying this works for everyone. Remember, this is very much my experience, but I have been training for long enough and I know my body well enough to know what works for me. So if I'm going to do a yoga practice, or I'm going to go to the gym, or not so much bouldering or surfing, but surfing actually would be a morning thing if I can fit it in. I would always try and do that in the morning and then I eat, just because that's how it works for my body. I know I pretty much could guarantee that if I haven't done any training or practice by 1 p.m, it's probably not going to happen. Unless it's going to an event or it's something that I've agreed to do with friends, it's highly unlikely my practice will happen, because I am just a morning person. I'm an early bird. I have my energy in the morning, and that I know that works for me. What I also like to do is to plan my workouts and my yoga time ahead of time. So rather than just wake up in the day and be like, oh gosh, I'd like to fit in a gym session today, I'll look at it from the week ahead. So I'll know that, on a Sunday, I'll know that on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I've got time to go to the gym and I can make that happen. Or maybe I can't make that happen. I know I haven't got time, but actually I've got a day full of meetings one day, and rather than get like the tube between my meetings, I make sure that I'm kind of doing a power walk between them. So little things like that. So I plan it ahead of time so that then I know, then I literally diarize it. Like in my diary at the top, so I have my to-do list, and at the top I will have like meditation, yoga, gym, or whatever it is, so that I can tick it off. I'm a big fan of ticking things off and feeling like I've accomplished something. So, and that motivates me. That in itself, that tiny little thing, that tiny little tick, that motivates me. The other thing is around diet and your food. Now, obviously, you are not going to feel motivated to go to the gym if your body's feeling sluggish and heavy. So if you're eating really, really heavy meals, I'm not going to give you advice over to what to eat, because A, I'm not a nutritionist, and B, I'm a firm believer in different things work for different people. But I also don't think that, if I go out and I really indulge one evening, the old me would have thought I need to get up in the morning and go to the gym. But me now, I don't feel that's very beneficial to me, because I wake up in the morning, I feel heavy, I feel sluggish. So actually, I'd rather have a slower start to the day, and then maybe go to the gym later, or just take it as a rest day. Because working out, doing any form of activity, be it yoga, a gym class, bouldering, whatever it is, playing netball, all things like that, they should never be seen as a punishment. It should be something that you want to do for your body because it makes you feel good. And that's really how we want food to be. You know, we want to nourish our bodies with colourful, yummy foods that make us feel good. So yeah, like last night I made a vegan mac and cheese and it was insane. It was so good. It made me so happy. It's currently leftovers downstairs in the fridge, and so that was a heavy meal. It was quite a stodgy meal, but I made sure, because I knew I wanted to go to the gym this morning and that my gym session would be early, I made sure I had my dinner early last night. So it's little things like that. That's where you don't necessarily consider those things as motivation. But they are the little things where all the cogs are turning in your brain. They're the little things that will make you feel more up for training, make you feel more willing to like get out the door and, you know, lace up your trainers and go for a run. I used to love running, and I run very irregularly now just because of injury. But running is a great one because it's, you know, you leave your house, you don't need to get in the car and go anywhere. You literally lace up your trainers, you go, you're in nature, and it's such a good feeling. Like, I'm a big fan of being outdoors in the summer, and when it starts to get warmer, I'll probably just take my workouts to the outdoors. So I will just go to a field somewhere and do my workouts there. And that for me is really like feeding my soul as well as doing good for my body. So hopefully this video has explained a little bit about what you guys were asking of me. I know that my routine isn't necessarily the kind of easiest thing for me to talk to you guys about because it doesn't really exist, but that is the reality of my life, you know. Sometimes I'll go weeks without training and I'll only have been on my mat, but then when I get on my mat, I'll make sure that I'm turning my yoga flows into something a little bit more powerful, using like the big muscle groups. I'll make sure that I'm using my glutes and I'm using my core and working my shoulders if I can't get to a gym or a climbing wall or whatever it is. And I'm a big fan of discovering new things. You know, go to a dance class or join a netball team or play dodgeball. I used to play dodgeball. It was so much fun. You did not think you were working out until afterwards, and you were like, whew, I'm exhausted. You know, all little things like that. Just, it doesn't have to be going to the gym and following a workout guide. Your version of fitness just needs to be something that you want to do, something that you enjoy, something that you are motivated by just by the thought of going out and doing it. So that's my little main tip for you, is always just to enjoy the movement that you're doing and enjoy the feeling it gives you, your body being functional, your body being healthy. Yeah, and obviously as well, like, nourish yourself with good food to help fuel all of those workouts. So hopefully you found that interesting. Please do comment below if you have any tips to share. Let's make it I always love making my comments like a little forum of you guys kind of like commenting and chatting on what, you know, you find works for you. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again for another video soon. Bye bye.